Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, episode number 96 today for the Austrian Grand Prix in Season 6. If you guys did miss the previous episode uploaded a couple of days ago, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one at the French Grand Prix. That was a very explosive race, I'll say. What a fiery one. A great battle with George Russell was turning into maybe a battle of this season, as both of us were 1-2 in the race, having made some decent overtakes. So definitely an episode you don't want to have missed out upon. But of course, spoiler alert, as it was going so well, it had to just come crashing down in a race where we're already trying to bounce back then from a 0 points finish at the Canadian Grand Prix 2 races ago with that double puncher incident where Pierre Gasly crashed into the wall of champions. You know, we're a lap down, we retired the car to save the car. We even put a whole extra column, a new column of engine components, and in that new column the MGUK failed us at Paul Ricard. So that's 2 engine DNFs then, one for the energy store in the opening round of Bahrain, and then the second one for the MGUK, and then just a very unfortunate racing, you know, incident in the Canadian Grand Prix. Nothing we could have done at Montreal. That was just very bad luck from us to get 2 punches, not even just one, and be a lap down and pretty much have the race be kind of thrown away for us because there was no point continuing in that one. It means that we come into the Austrian Grand Prix in P6, and well, we're almost there to having half the points of the championship leader, Antonio Giovinazzi. Like, if he was to have a really good race in this one and we continue to just, you know, score a couple of points or no points again, Giovinazzi would very much have double the points I have as the championship leader. And at that point, I think I would have to really start to consider if this can be a season where we can even fight for the Drivers' Championship. But I'm really hoping that's not the case, and we can actually bounce back now. We've tried already once at Paul Ricard, but can we try it on the second time round at the Red Bull Ring? It's going to be a tough one. Austria is such a close affair, especially now in Season 6 with maxed out cars, the AI at the top of their game. So many of these guys are now like 90 rated plus with very good focus as well, so it's going to be a very tough affair. And of course, it is the home race of our main championship rivals in the Constructors Red Bull Porsche, so we're walking into the Lion's Den with a bit of a limp, really, for our side of the garage. At least Russell's right up there. He won the last race. So what happened last episode and so far in this season has not only been difficult in terms of, you know, wanting to do well in the championship and obviously be right up there fighting for another Drivers' World Championship. It's been tough because last season's rival, Russell, who's now our new teammate, you know, we wanted to go toe-to-toe with him in the same piece of machinery, and I was confident we could beat him in the same piece of machinery. But Lady Luck has not been on our side. In recent races as well, if you kind of ignore what happened to me at Montreal and the engine failure, he's also been driving, though, exceptionally. You know, he won Baku fair and square. He had really great race pace then, and at France, he was giving us a massive fight that was going to turn into an absolute classic if it continued. So, you know, even though I want to blame it on luck as well at the same time, Russell, in the position he is in, he's there because he's done the business and he's got 2 wins in the season. So, you know, this is an inflection point, kind of almost like last season when we had 2 DNFs at Austria and Silverstone. It's come a bit earlier in the season, but the difference is we've had 3 races where we've scored 0 points, and our teammates, one of our rivals, has won 2, and the other rival, Giovinazzi, he's won 2 races. And even Esteban Ocon, a third potential rival, you know, I don't really count him quite in it yet, because Ferrari just, you know, at some point you'd like to think they're going to give way and not be consistently there the whole time, but Ocon has also won 2 races, whereas we are here with 0. So this is a very weird position to be in. I think you guys can admit as well, watching this career mode series. So yeah, this has been probably the worst the season's kicked off to in terms of a hope versus reality. But we're here now, trying to put that behind us. Let's stop talking about it and let's get into the action. Q1 obviously a formality as per usual now lately in the career mode series. So we're into Q2 now, the business portion, trying to get into the top 10 shootout. Russell looking quick at the top of the timesheets in Q1. So let's see how this goes now in Q2. Giovinazzi was up there in the top 6, I believe. And also the Lotus Renaults, they've clearly, their AI drivers, Drogovic and Lundgaard, clearly have been going from strength to strength in terms of, you know, the stats, the focus potentially, because they're right up there again, you know. They've just been building as of late in the recent races. And a lot of you guys are really liking his emergence in this F1 season, obviously, as a junior Brazilian driver at the moment in real life in Formula 2. First runs in the first part of qualifying, we did beat Russell, but he actually, you may have noticed on that first run on the top left, qualified on the medium tyre, tried to. I think he's now going to switch over to the soft tyres and not make the same mistake he made at Montreal, if you remember. Already got knocked out in Q2, trying to be too clever with the medium tyre. We're going to have to go again, because although we did beat Russell and we're P5 there, because we only just beat him and on a quicker tyre, I think clearly we're lacking a bit of pace maybe here over one lap, which I'm not surprised at, because the AI I've noticed in the later seasons with the max stat cars and the stats they have, they're so relentless over one lap around Austria, and it's only in the race where we can kind of come back a little bit. So the second run definitely needed, because it's going to be so close. I'm talking a few hundreds are going to separate who's in Q3 and who's not, as we have just been. What just happened? We're on the outlap. That was an outlap, and we just got hit off by Lando Norris in the McLaren. The McLaren has just hit us off. He accelerated in a brake zone and just hit us off there. We're both on an outlap, I believe, so taking it nice and pedestrian-like, and then he just pulls alongside us to spin us out. What on earth was that from our fellow Brit? And we've got damage, I think. Not only has our outlap been ruined, we've got time to start a flying lap, but the floor is damaged, so we're not even going to set a particularly good lap time, and our team have told us to come in to check for damage, to check the floor, of course, even for tomorrow's Sunday race. So what an absolute calamity. We're in P5 at the moment, but as this session comes to an end on the top right, the timer goes away, we pull into the pits to retire, and that's it. And that's it. We're out. We're out. We were P5, but obviously everyone set quicker times. Ironically, even the McLaren got through in P8. Our teammate is through. Antonio Giovinazzi is through. Drogovic, a star in Q2, it seemed, fast of all. So, bit of a shame that we can't actually see what happens in Q3. We're going to have to just find out as we go to the starting grid sequence and see the pecking order then. But I am just baffled and mystified right now. I'm lost for words. I've never seen that. That AI of Lando's actually acted like a real AI, a real person, as if he had a bit of a vendetta, and just took me out there. So the McLarens, our bitter rivals from last season, getting a bit, I don't know, salty, red mist. I don't know what just happened. I don't know. But we've been taken out in Q2, floor damage, and we start outside the top 10. That is the opposite of what we needed. Let's go to the right. What more is this season going to give us in terms of punching us down?
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's discuss Red Bull. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell did very well in qualifying yesterday and will start today's race from pole position. And Felipe Drugovich completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Pierre Gasly and Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Joe and Valtteri Bottas. The owner driver, Ocon, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Charles Leclerc and Lundgaard. Tsunoda, Hamilton, Jack Aitken and Lance Stroll. Matsushita, Tictum, Armstrong and Callum Islet. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
This really has been a season like no other. I don't think I've faced this many different kind of obstacles. Engine failure, puncture, being taken out in quali. That's a new one. Yeah, I'm going to put my bafflement behind me and we'll just set our sights on doing the best job we can in this race. Of course, Russell was able to get pole position. Of course he was, of course. But Drogovic is alongside him on the front row. So that's pretty damn exciting, actually. I'm kind of sad we miss seeing maybe, that happen in real time there and the amazement of that. But that is amazing for the Brazilian who's going from strength to strength and pulling that Lotus Renault into places where it maybe shouldn't be if you look at where Lundgaard was. Giovinazzi, the championship leader, in third place. So, we've got some of the big names in the championship right at the forefront. We're outside the top 10. So pretty much we've got to have our sights on only one aim, is getting on that podium and trying anything we can to get ahead and beat Giovinazzi and Russell and others somehow. So here we go then to 5 red lights at the Red Bull Ring outside the top 10. 5 red lights are out and we are underway, and it is a shockingly slow start for Max Verstappen up the road. Might be 4 wide into turn 1. Ocon, big dive down the inside, and there's contact, and the Ferrari and Williams have crashed. We had to take avoiding action on this slip road on the left-hand side, otherwise we would have been involved in that incident. We almost T-boned the Ferrari or the Williams or even the Mercedes cars, all 3 of them with carbon fibre everywhere, crashing into one another. A bit of ping-pong at turn 1. Let's look at a replay and see then, and that freeze frame right there is never good, and that one is even worse. That onboard from Bottas says it all there. Just a really fast, clumsy accident, and we had to really make sure we did not get involved there. That's what happens when you're outside the top 10. You can just be in the middle of absolute chaos. And then this is a different replay. Look at Drogovic. What a start for the youngster. The Brazilian leads this race then under this virtual safety car as he jumped Russell at turn 1 then. So Russell's in P2 and the Lotus Renault leads us at Austria. We're down to P15 though. So I was jokingly saying at the end of the qualifying segment, how much more are we going to get punched down in this season where we've lost 4 positions instead of gaining position. But we go green again. The Mercedes though holding up cars and we almost get taken out by a BMW. We have to take more avoiding action and lose another position. We're down to P16. It just keeps on happening. We can't gain a position. This career mode season, it does not want us to do well as we go over debris and get a bit of PTSD from what happened at Canada almost there. That was a bit hairy as our front right tyre went over a front wing, I think it was, of one of the Mercedes cars. We're up into P13 now as a couple of people have made pit stops then after that, very, very chaotic lap 1 where the BMW then at the end of the lap, I think he was crashing into one of the Mercedes cars without a front wing as we now overtake the other BMW, the Japanese driver, down to P13. We're up into P12 and now looking at Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin on the next lap, lap 3, up into P11. So just outside the points paying positions and ahead of us, Tsunoda versus Hamilton. Well, I just want to show a slow-mo replay then of what just happened on that restart, because look how close we were. We were inches away from getting at least front wing damage, maybe the front tyre being shed completely off our car from that BMW. Even the front wing in the air could have maybe, affected the left tyre. We were so close from a race-ending disaster again, more so than turn 1, to be honest, as it was the Mercedes, like I said, that was going slowly, trying to go back into the pit lane, ironically, and it took out the BMW as everyone was kind of concertinaing and piling in to that one corner. So that is why that all kicked off then, but we're through now and trying to chase after Tsunoda in the McLaren. But leading the way then on lap 4 is Felipe Drogovic in the Lotus Renault, like I said, doing an amazing job, the Brazilian youngster. But back to our POV, we're now caught up to the Japanese driver Tsunoda in the McLaren, going for the move on Hamilton, and we've got to be patient as we can maybe try and be a bit cheeky and get 2 for the price of 1 maybe, as we look for the switchback left to right get the better exit. DRS open as well to pull us into that McLaren. Can we make a move on Tsunoda? He's wobbling about. We have a look around the outside. Wishful thinking though, but the McLaren has compromised his own exit there. We're going to use a lot of ERS to try and squeeze in on the inside. A very tricky corner to get right versus the AI. They're so overpowered through this left-hand drive, feel, especially in qualifying, but we've made the move and we're up into P9 and into some clean air maybe now to try and chase after Christian Lundgaard in the tail end of that train in the top 8. Meanwhile, Tsunoda and Hamilton having an absolute scrap and a half there. So Hamilton going up against his old team in the old school colours. He'll be very familiar with that sight of the Vodafone red and chrome. Meanwhile, for the race lead, back to the live action at the front, and Antonio Giovinazzi has just overtaken the Lotus Renault. Drogovic, he's down to P2. Giovinazzi on an absolute mad one there. He'd already overtaken Russell to get up into P3 early on in the opening laps, and now on lap 5 he's got the race lead. The championship leader showing why he has been in such a commanding lead in the championship so far. The consistency and the raw speed and relentlessness of this Italian this season has been absolutely insane to watch. It seems like the Red Bulls are just in general thriving at their home race. Schumacher now going for a move on Russell, or maybe it's just Russell that's struggling at the moment. Maybe tyre wear. It is lap 10, so we are all seeing everyone kind of stretching their softs a little bit longer. If we look back at previous seasons around the Austrian Grand Prix, generally the 2 stops seem like the better way to go. If you can somehow stretch it, maybe a very audacious 1 stop is possible, but you're going to have to do a lot of defending towards the end of the Grand Prix. But Russell definitely struggling for pace for whatever reason, and he's down to P4 now and defending against Carlos Sainz in P5. So it's a 1-3 for Red Bull with the Lotus Renault in the middle. Meanwhile, for us on lap 10, we have started to gain on Lundgaard, but we're going to use this time to come in, because I feel like we started closing on Lundgaard only when his tyres started to go off, and I don't want to make the mistake of trying to, you know, go too long, because I'm suddenly now gaining time only for my own tyres to start wearing out. So we're in. So it was a bit of a mundane first stint then, I can't lie, after overtaking Tsunoda and Hamilton. Just a case of getting my head down and trying to bridge the gap, that massive gap that was only there, I might add, because there was a virtual safety car only, not a full safety car on lap 1. And then you had, obviously, you remember that Mercedes car holding everyone up under the virtual safety car. So, in my opinion, a little bit unfair in terms of how that worked out with the virtual and the Mercedes holding us up. But it is what it is. We're not going to complain anymore. We're just going to get on with it. But at the time, a little frustrating. But we get past the Aston Martin of Callum Ilott up into P12. And it's only a 2.5 second gap to Lundgaard. And then an even smaller gap to George Russell, who's made his pit stop now onto mediums, as well as Sainz. He's been jumped by Carlos Sainz in the pit lane, and he's lost a massive amount of time because Russell was nowhere near us, and he was well ahead of Lundgaard. So Russell and Sainz both have really compromised their own races by going longer in that first stint. And for what? Because they've still got onto a 2-stop onto medium. Meanwhile, you've got Giovinazzi and Drogovic continuing on, even Schumacher as well on lap 13, Leclerc and Tsunoda involved as well, maybe. All of these guys stretching the soft tyres for so long, this is. And meanwhile, you've got Lundgaard overtaking Stroll as the 2-stoppers are starting to come back and nip at the heels of some of the cars that are still out there on the same set of tyres, i.e. that Aston Martin of Stroll. And now Sainz might get involved, Russell may get involved, and oh my god, what a view that was for a split second. That 4 wide moment, that was insane. That was ridiculous as we now overtake the Aston Martin. I was a bit maybe too cautious maybe into that corner that we only got one of those cars, but I didn't want to make it 5 wide or try something too clever. We need to make sure we get through this Grand Prix in one piece, let alone trying to have a good result. The first and foremost thing is I would like to finish the race, something we've not done in the last 2 episodes. And all the while, the top guys, Giovinazzi and Drogovic especially, focusing on them as they were, right there with Russell, they're continuing on for further laps then on the soft compound as Russell makes a very daring move on Lundgaard, makes contact with the Lotus Renault, and that's going to open up the door for us. So a bit of unintentional teamwork there from Russell to kind of offset the Lotus Renault. Now, can we overtake him? He's struggling. I don't know what's going on, if he's got a small car issue or it's just general tyre wear or lack of race pace, if his car was set up for Saturday, but he is really not doing well in this race right now. The race pace isn't there for our fellow countryman, our teammate on the other side of the garage. And we're up into P7 and looking to chase after Carlos Sainz. Now, lap 14, Drogovic is in. Giovinazzi, he continues on for another lap. So, some of us pit around lap 8, and Giovinazzi is going, well, near enough, you know, give or take 6 laps, half the race distance on a set of soft tyres. Now, this is why Drogovic has gone so long on the softs, because he's put on this set of hard tyres. So, he's definitely doing a one-stop, a very conservative one-stop, but, you know, he's done so well on the softs to go that long that the hards can easily go the distance now. But I wonder, that's surely then what Giovinazzi is doing. So, we've got a 2-stop versus 1-stoppers then today. However, Antonio Giovinazzi, he's put on this set of medium tyres. What are Red Bull doing? What are they playing at? They've put on the medium tyres after going 15 laps. Unless they're tying a one-stop on mediums. If they are, you know, if the Red Bull's taken a set of softs 15 laps, then, you know, the theory is they should be able to get the end now on the mediums. But the rest of us clearly just do not feel that confident. And Giovinazzi is way behind now in P7. So let's watch his pace and see. Surely he'll be driving quite conservatively to make sure the tyres go the distance. Meanwhile, anyway, back in our fight, we're in P3 on the road. Not sure how this is going to play out, but at the moment we're now going for a 3-wide moment with Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz, the man who took us out in Q2, and Sainz in the Ferrari. Can we try and squeeze through? We're literally going to force our way through down the middle. That was exceptional stuff. I literally had to carve my way a position because those two were too busy fighting each other. We now make the early brake zone and cut in tight to get the undercut line on Carlos Sainz, although he undercuts me now on this left-hander. The Ferrari really giving up a good fight, and the Spaniard gets back into the lead of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Russell has just danced around the outside of Lando Norris to get up into P3 as we continue to fight Sainz, trying to go down the inside, but the Ferrari is hanging it out really well, but a lock-up from him. This is ferocious racing at the sharp end for the race lead, this is, remember, and Sainz is here for this battle. He was with Russell where he was in the top 8, so this is actually the legitimate fight right now for the race lead. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Giovinazzi, Drogovic, the one-stoppers potentially, but at the moment, that's the fight for the lead, and we have won it. We are leading the race. Meanwhile, we watch Lundgaard now sail one down the inside of Russell, so although Russell did well to overtake Norris, we've got Lundgaard showing even better pace, maybe in the Lotus Renault. Meanwhile, Giovinazzi and Drogovic in P6 and 7. Not for much longer, though. Giovinazzi on lap 19 on to 20. He's already overtaken Russell then. We haven't seen that move, but we are going to see the onboard as he flies down the inside of Lando Norris. So Giovinazzi's in the top 5 here. He is flying on those mediums, so it doesn't look like he's protecting those tyres much. So I wonder if Red Bull are still trying a 2-stop with him, but they're just trying to be a bit clever, as now Carlos Sainz is out of the Grand Prix. He was applying some amazing pressure to me. We were actually feeling quite under the cosh by him, but now he's retired with a mechanical failure or whatever the case is. The Spaniard is out, and it's going to be a very bad day in the office for the entire Scuderia Ferrari team, because of course Ocon was involved in that lap 1 incident with the two Mercedes cars there. So we are now in P1, and we've got a bit of breathing room to Christian Lundgaard, who is now being sent round the outside by Gio, but no, he's made contact as he gets the elbows out, the youngster, and defends against Giovinazzi very successfully in the Red Bull car, who remains in P3. Norris right up his gearbox now. So has Giovinazzi actually got damage, I wonder, because there was a bit of contact on the side pod of the Lotus Renault. So has Giovinazzi got a pit now for damage? Yes, he does. He got damage. The championship leader's got damage, and there's now an incident with Russell. Russell's now got damage, but he continues on. Russell couldn't pit because he had already crossed the white line, so he has to go on for another lap with the damage. So not only has Russell been struggling for race pace anyway, he's now got to do a whole lap with severe front wing damage, and that's after making direct contact with the championship leader, his nearest rival in the standings, Antonio Giovinazzi. And the Italian, well, he's now forced into a 2-stop. I really do believe Red Bull were trying a 1-stop with Gio from the soft to the medium, which would have been bonkers. Like, he would have definitely been dominating this race then, because lap 23, we are in. Lundgaard's going to come in surely soon enough, or maybe even on this lap as well. Yes, he will. So Drogovic leads the way. He's the the only person, I think, in the top 5 cars that is doing a one-stop of any kind, either the hards or the medium compound tyre. So Giovinazzi, he would have been really on for a very strong race position, you know, so many seconds ahead on the medium tyre with the pace he was showing, but now he's on the 2-stop as well, and he is still behind me on the road. So we come out in P5 then. So we've got Drogovic leading the way. He's on hard. So the youngster, the Brazilian in the Lotus Renault, he has a very, very good chance of maybe winning this race, because 1.5 behind Leclerc on medium, Tsunoda as well, Schumacher also on the hard compound in P4 then. So we've got 2 guys doing a one-stop on the hard tyres. Looks like Leclerc and Tsunoda are trying to do what Giovinazzi was set to do, is a one-stop on medium, so that's very interesting. Then it's us in P5, Lundgaard, Giovinazzi, the rest of us all on 2-stop. So in terms of this race, well, if we want to get a podium, nay, even a race win to bounce back in the biggest fashion ever, it's all down to us now to get our head down. 11 laps to go and chasing after Drogovic in P1 on hard tyres in a Lotus Renault. We've got to get past Schumacher, Tsunoda and Leclerc as well, but their tyres are going to be going off, especially Tsunoda and Leclerc. Schumacher, let's see how we get past him. The Red Bull on a set of hard tyres, he's going to squeeze us right to the right-hand side there. One of our former teammates, this is, remember, from seasons gone by, gives us a good old squeeze, but we get up into P4. Meanwhile, Giovinazzi follows us through in making a move on Lundgaard in a similar fashion, but they're a bit more equally matched, it would seem, as the Lotus Renault has DRS as well and comes back against Giovinazzi, so that's a fight and a half, but Gio is able to squeeze him out, and surely the Red Bulls just easily swap, because Giovinazzi obviously is the team leader for sure this season, and they do very easily. So Giovinazzi now with a purple lap time, he's got all the pace in the world. We've got some pace, but he's got even more pace. But here we are, 5 laps to go, now behind Yuki Tsunoda in the McLaren. We fought quite hard with him earlier on in the Grand Prix in stint 1, but here he is now trying to go to the end on this same sort of medium tyres that he made that first pit stop on, and look at the rear end squirm. The McLaren really not liking these boots, and as we go down the inside, surely this is the move booked in. He's not going to have the grip, he doesn't, and he can't make the corner as quick as we can, and now we have clean air to chase after Leclerc. 3 seconds down the road. Drogovic then three further ahead of Leclerc, so 6 seconds to bridge in about 4 laps. That's a lot to ask, and remember the hard compound for Drogovic, that definitely lasts longer and will perform better than Leclerc and Tsunoda will, as we're now catching up to Leclerc, who's in a battle with a back marker of Verstappen, very weirdly. So this ends up being a very easy overtake then, probably ideal actually not to lose too much time battling Leclerc, and we're up into P2 then. So already this has been a great comeback race for us. Remember at the start of lap 2, as we see Verstappen trying to re-overtake me as a back marker, trying to do what I was doing in Canada. Remember at the start of lap 2 I was down in P16 and we had just avoided 2 race-ending accidents, and now we're here in P2 and we're chasing after the race leader at a rate of knots. Leclerc comes in, he can't hack the tyre wear. Tsunoda continues on, but he's really struggling, and Giovinazzi is up into P3. So to be honest, maybe it's a blessing in disguise for Giovinazzi, because if he tried to go on mediums and do a one-stop, he may have had to pit late on like Leclerc has just now and ruin his entire race. So this way, at least Giovinazzi's, you know, guaranteed to get at least a top 4 position. I say top 4 because Lundgaard is sticking with him and might make a move towards the end of this Grand Prix. Let's see as the Lotus Renault looks to overtake one of the McLarens, Lando Norris, the other McLaren involved as well. This is a really great scrap, but Lundgaard gets it. He's up into P4. It's a 1-4 right now for Lotus Renault. Could it be more though? Because Lundgaard looks pretty damn hungry to chase after Giovinazzi. Meanwhile, we've got fighting going on between Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton and Russell. He is recovered to P9 after that, obviously that front wing breakage and that very slow in-lap. As we now watch Tsunoda coming in for a last-minute pit stop then. So really, that one stop from soft to medium was not the way to go. It was all about going onto the hard compound tyre. So Giovinazzi here in P3 P3 as he's being chased after Lundgaard. He may be counting himself very lucky in a weird way of having that damage and pitting for a second time. As we now move on to the last lap of the Grand Prix, I've been pushing like an absolute animal. We've got DRS off the back marker. We don't get DRS off Stroll. That's a bit frustrating. He has DRS. We use ERS to close up and try and just at least get a slipstream off him, because you never know what could happen on the last lap of the Grand Prix with tyre wear, but we just go a bit too deep in that corner, and with it, maybe our hopes of trying anything last minute as Giovinazzi defends, but Lundgaard, here he comes. What did I say? That Lotus Renault seems to have some really decent pace, and Gio is struggling now on these mediums, and the Lotus Renault flies past with DRS. It's a 1-3 for Lotus Renault. This is absolutely amazing. This is going to be historical. A historical podium. We're up into P2. I've got to be really, really happy, but the star of the race is this man, Felipe Drogovic, the young Brazilian. Take a bow, son, as he comes through for his first ever Formula 1 win. What a way to win. 200 IQ strategy, choosing the one stop, going so long on the soft compound tyre, and then making it work on the hards. We were so close though. We were there. What a recovery from us. What a recovery from lap 1.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Once again, it's podium time, and once again, it's a clear win for Alpine. Alpine have seen their fair share of success in Formula 1, and today is proof that they've still got what it takes to thrill us all. Congratulations to everyone at Alpine.
I think this will be a fan favourite race win, to be honest, because it seemed like so many of you guys were on the Drogovic hype train in this series from last episode in the comments. Well, this is going to solidify it. A race win for the Brazilian at the Austrian Grand Prix. The 1-3 for Lotus. Wow, what a race for them. And Lundgaard, P14 to P3. That's actually an unreal drive. I don't know what the hell these two drivers are on this race weekend, but that's insane. But for us, P2 from a P16 on lap 1, it was all looking like the cards were stacked against us. We were being punched down even further on the opening lap, but we persevered, we dug deep, believed in ourselves in the 2-stop, and we made some really decent moves. Good pace, up into P2. Can't ask for more because we beat Giovinazzi. Yes, he's still got a top 4, showing why he's the championship leader by a good 12 points, because he's just always there this season. But with Russell way down in P9, we do outscore our teammates by a large margin and catapult ourselves up into P4 as well, with others like Bottas and Leclerc having quieter races as well. Ocon especially, he's still up there though. You know, 2 wins means a lot for the Frenchman to still be there in the top 4 despite some difficult races, you know, this episode for sure. So it's still game on for him. It's game on still for us. I still believe we've got plenty of the season to go, and this is the kind of race that kickstarts that renewal and that charge back to fighting Giovinazzi and Russell properly in terms of points. But what a mental episode. From that lap 1, I really did not think we were going to get even a top 5 with just the way things were going. The vibe just was not there, but we just kept at it, and the 2-stop for us, keeping the car clean as well, which Russell and Giovinazzi did not. So that proves keeping the car clean is a massive thing in this series, especially with the simulation damage and how close things are. We've done it. We've got a podium, and we can now try and move on maybe from what happened in the previous 2 episodes. If you did enjoy the episode, guys, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do go subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.